Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Beyond the Score podcast, brought to you by The Northerner. I'm Matthew Supinger. I'm one of your co-hosts, joined today with Alex Perez, your other co-host. Alex, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Much like every other episode that have we had in the past, it seems like the topics are going to be pretty good today.
Mm-hmm.
Similar, a lot of Olympic talk, but we're sprinkling in some NFL.
Yeah.
Working on a little bit of a short week. We're shooting this on a Tuesday.
After shooting the last one on a Friday.
Yeah. So we have had things happen, but not a lot. But we're still going to talk about it like this is the newest thing that's happened.
Absolutely.
But before all of that, you know what we got to do.
Absolutely.
It's a weekly thing.
We need the update.
Colton, what's going on with the Dynasty, man?
Hello there. It's been a week. We got one season down. We did not repeat our national championship. We beat Notre Dame in the semifinal and then lost to Alabama. To be honest, I had sat and played because I was waiting to go out to my buddy's 21st. So I was really just sitting there playing the game, and I was very burnt out. And no excuses, though. No excuses, of course. Yeah. But, Alabama just got the best of me. We lost our Heisman contending quarterback. I don't know how he didn't win. He had like 5,000 yards, but beyond me, I'm not a part of the committee, so... we're gearing up for year, I don't even know where we're at now, 6, I guess. And we'll be back and better there. We got a 5-star in the weans, so we'll be back. We'll be back and better next week for sure.
Do you know who won the Heisman over your guy?
It was like we're to the point where it's all made up characters now. Yeah. So it was like some random dude on Nebraska. Nebraska wasn't even a playoff team. He had like 4,000 yards, so like. It's a good year, I guess, but it's not 5,000.
Yeah,
not 5,
they could at least make it realistic. But.
Yeah. I mean, Nebraska, what? Come on.
Well, I appreciate the Dynasty update. I think it really goes to show it is a full-time job.
For sure, yeah.
Running your own school, being an AD, being the coach, being the coordinator, being the players, everything you do.
DMing high school kids? I mean, come on now.
Oh.
That's the most important part of the job.
Yeah.
For clarification, that is a feature of the game, okay?
For recruiting purposes.
For recruiting purposes, it is a feature in the game. So, no, I am not legitimately DMing. All right, I'm just going to throw it back to you.
Throw it back over here.
Yeah, all right, back to y'all. No more talking for me.
Thanks for the Dynasty update, Colton, and the hobby update as well. It sounds like everything's going pretty good with you. So the Olympics, still going on. U.S. basketball is still thriving at the top of its game like it has been all of the Olympics thus far. Just got a big win over Puerto Rico, opening up really all the medal rounds and everything like that. Huge win over Puerto Rico. What did you see in that game that you thought really stuck out to you?
The frustrating thing that stuck out at the beginning was another slow start. 25-17 Puerto Rico lead to begin the game. Then they had a 4-point lead after one. Puerto Rico shot 5 for 8 from 3 in that first quarter. And then we turned it around. We put Derek White, Anthony Edwards, KD, AD, and Bam in there. And they got the lead back, and they were plus 23 in the second quarter. So that was good to see that they found a lineup that could gel and be efficient offensively. Mm-hmm. And then the defense kicked in with the USA scoring 62 during that span, and then Puerto Rico only had 30 from like the second and third quarters combined. So it was good to see that kind of defensive intensity. And then that just led to an easy 104-83 win. And the most important thing that stuck out to me it feels like Anthony Edwards found his groove in this game.
Yeah.
In the third and fourth quarter, he was just looked like hunting matchups to go and shoot the ball. Mm-hmm. So that was really a plus to see. Yeah. Let me say on the broadcast, I apologize for last week ever arguing that Devin Booker should be in the starting lineup over Anthony Edwards. I don't know ball. But what were your big takeaways from the game, Matt?
You hit on a lot of them. The defense, opened up with a slow start. The offense, it was like the offense was just showing no life at all. Like it wasn't kind of like we were just going, punch for punch, and just the defense couldn't hold up. Mm-hmm. Offense wasn't showing anything. You talked about it. Defense was huge. We finished the game with 16 steals and blocks combined. Puerto Rico only had 7. You talked about the big second quarter from the U.S. You outscored them 39-16, plus 23-point differential. Led big time at half, and I think from there it just kind of was coasting after that. Cut down on fouls a lot. We only finished with 17 fouls, which is big time. It seemed like from when I was watching, the bigs were able to get into the paint at will. They were running a little bit of a BAM and AD lineup there. I think it might have been in the second quarter. I remember them running it a few times, though, and it was just like, they were running pick and roll galore, and sometimes running pick and roll between BAM and AD, and it was just
It's beautiful to see.
every single time. Ball was getting down in the paint. They're getting a big-time dunk, getting an oop, getting a pass around just to get a shot in the paint. But, I mean, AD, Embiid, and BAM, I got here, they all shot 9 for 17 from 2, which is big for all of them. BAM didn't shoot a whole lot. Anthony Davis didn't shoot a whole lot. He only went 3 for 4.
Yeah.
But just showing the ability of them to enforce their presence down there was big. We finished the game shooting drastically better than them in a few aspects. Just from the field in general, we shot nearly 40% or 50% to their almost 40%. From 2 especially, I think just hitting on that point again, we shot 63%. They shot 49%. And then the free throw differential was huge. We shot, I can't remember exactly how many free throws we shot, but we shot 75% on a lot more attempts than they did. They shot 50%. Passed the ball a lot better. We had 30 assists. Puerto Rico only finished with 20. We had 11 turnovers, but compared to what we've seen in some of the past games, it seems like we're improving on that a little bit more. And then, Ant-Man did what he did best.
Yeah.
Went out there, had 26, 3 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals. Shot, I think, 11 for 15 from the field. 3 for 6 from 3, which was huge because, some of the guards that we've had or have, even Steph included, not shooting the 3 ball as well as they probably could. And he had the highest efficiency on the team with 25. We just saw him really go out there and show how dominant he can be. And, he says, I think a lot of people want to try and hate on him when, he goes out there and he's like, well, I'm the number 1 option. There's a difference between saying you're the number 1 option, Embiid, and showing you're the number 1 option.
Right.
Not saying that he's the number 1 guy, but he is definitely a guy that could be the number 1 option.
He showed he could be for sure, yeah.
And I think that's been the biggest theme throughout the first, few games after exhibition games, group play, and then, starting the medal rounds. We're seeing guys show up every single game, almost a different guy every time. LeBron has showed up, with big games from time to time, I say, about the Olympics. Yeah. Not in his career, in the Olympics. KD, he was huge last game, and then of course Anthony Edwards showed up huge, and with a 26-piece there. But yeah, I thought it was a great team game all around, and just got everyone pumped and ready to go for the next round.
I will have to give him his credit, since I am usually his biggest hater on the USA basketball team. Joel Embiid had a great game.
He did.
He showed a really efficient offensive performance, and he was there on defense, making a difference.
Yeah.
On a couple of plays, so I really have to give him credit for playing a good game.
Yeah, I mean, a broken clock's right 2 times a day. So.
That's true. Yeah.
I have an update on the current game against Brazil.
Ooh, go for it.
So, behind 30 points from Bruno Caboclo, Brazil lost 87 to 122.
Oh my gosh.
Devin Booker was the leading scorer with 18.
Maybe I do know ball.
Maybe you do know ball. 18 points, had 3 3-pointers in the third quarter. Finished 6 for 9 from the field, but yeah, that's how the game ended.
You know what's good when your leading scorer has 18 and you scored, what was it, 120?
122.
Jeez.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Bruno Caboclo, legend.
Yeah, he's
legacy
a legend.
Game. Legacy game.
Beyond score legend. Definitely. He has been
NBA
done with that.
Come on now.
We'll definitely have more on of a breakdown on that next week. But that is, I think, about what I expected from this game. Is it not what you expected, Matt?
Yeah, I would say it was. I expected Team USA to win, and I expected a legendary performance like that to happen from someone. But yeah, that's big time. So now, do you know who we go on to play next?
I do not, but I can find it real quick.
Okay. because I know there's a huge upset today. Pretty big upset. Very helpful for the U.S. with France beating Canada, which is awesome. I didn't see the exact stats and stuff. I just saw that they did beat them. But I think it kind of shows, our guard play needs to step up, I say. Needs to continue to produce, if not produce a little bit more, because I think Canada's maybe, again, didn't look at the stats yet, so I don't know for sure. I could be completely dead wrong. I know Canada doesn't have a whole lot of remarkable big play.
That is true, yeah.
France does. France has big play. Victor Wembanyama. Rudy Gobert is there.
He's present.
So I think that maybe could have, I don't know, maybe that was a factor. Maybe it wasn't. I didn't look yet. But, yeah, so that's big for the U.S.
So the United States will be facing Serbia for what feels like the 5th time this summer in the semifinal.
Very nice.
That'll be a good game.
Nikola Jokic hates to see us coming, but that's all right. We love to see it. But, yeah, on the France game, I did look into the stats a little bit. Not as big of a performance from the bigs, at least offensively.
Okay.
Gobert had 0. Wemby had 7, and then he's not a big, but Batum, like the third best player, only had 5. So they all combined for 12 points and still beat that really good Canada team.
Cool, so I was dead wrong. Awesome.
It was very cool very cool for them, obviously, to do that in front of their home crowd, basically. So that was awesome to see. I wish we could have got a USA versus Canada game. But
yeah, that would have been awesome.
That's what it is.
But with an Olympic tight gold race that we've had so far, I'll take gold wherever I can get one.
That's fair, yeah.
So, yeah, moving on to what should be a very, very, very short topic. The 3x3 team for the U.S. men's team. Definitely the men's team. We're not good.
Yeah.
At all.
Let me take you through some results really quick because it just pains me. So we got our first win that I mentioned on the last episode. Then we went to face China. It was tied 5 minutes in. We went on a 9-5 run, and we won 21-17. So that was cool. It was the Canyonberry Legacy game. He had 14 of the 21 points. So that's big time. Then we went to play the Netherlands for a shot at the play-in. We lost 21-6. And there's really not much you can say about a game like that. They didn't qualify for the quarterfinal because they lost that game.
Oh, man.
But thoughts and prayers with Jimmer, though. He tore 2 ligaments in his abductor in the second game, apparently, of the whole tournament. So that was a big part of the offense not being there. But
yeah,
there's definitely a solution for this 3x3 team.
Oh, yeah. Definitely should be.
I was looking into it because I was like, there's got to be a reason they're not playing the professionals. Apparently, you have to put in a certain amount of time in the FIBA competitions for you to qualify, but that's only 2 players. 2 NBA players can show up whenever they want to. So my idea was, I know others have had this idea too, but get 2 people from the big 3.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Beasley, Joe Johnson, and then throw Kyrie and Chet in there as those 2 NBA players that can randomly show up.
That'd be such a cool team.
You have a really good, at least, offensive team, and Chet could probably shut down everything that comes in the paint. So I think that's a recipe for winning that we should definitely look into.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That's tough to hear about, Jimmer. The GOAT. BYU GOAT. Sorry, Zach Wilson, you got demoted. Moving on to the women's international team. USA had a pretty good game against Germany, won by, I believe, 19. What was it in that game that really stuck out to you?
Well, from the very beginning, I was concerned going in about USA's three-point shooting. They came in 26% from 3. And the size of Germany, they have 4 of their 5 starters were 6'3" and over. So another slow start, this time for the women. Germany led 15-6. Surprise, surprise. Breanna Stewart had all 6 of those points for the U.S. They also led by 5 after 1. USA had 4 turnovers and 0 threes after that first quarter. A recipe for winning.
Yeah.
But then Alyssa Thomas came in the second and sparked the defense. It was a physical game that I noticed. I don't know if you thought the same thing, but if I felt like it was like flagrant foul or nothing, like they weren't calling anything. I'm used to the FIBA game being rough, and especially the WNBA game as well. But I just feel like they were extra physical on both sides. It wasn't just like one side heavy.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. And then Germany had 10 points in the second quarter, and that's when USA kind of got their groove. They had a 12-point lead at half. And then, unfortunately, thoughts and prayers with her as well. Leonie Fibic got hurt in the third quarter, and that sparked just a offensive avalanche for USA as they went on a 20-5 run to end the third and go up 20. Chelsea Gray, another thing that I had mentioned last week, I was concerned about her not playing much. She only played 5 minutes, but Jackie Young had 19 points to keep the offense alive. She was electric, and then we went on to get the 87-68 win because of that. There was no stagnant offense thanks to Jackie Young. But I'm still, like, coming out of this game, I'm still worried about the three-pointers because everybody besides Jackie Young shot 4 for 13 from 3. So it may look good on paper overall, but if you take her numbers out, it's still not good.
Yeah.
What are your takeaways?
A lot of the same stuff. If you look at just purely the team stats, you notice there's not a whole lot of a difference in a lot of the shooting percentages. Field goal, we shot 48, they shot 42. Three-pointer, 42 to 38. Free throws, we shot 88% on 9 attempts. They shot 66% on 9 attempts, so that's the biggest difference. But, again, same amount of attempts, just a couple less makes. Just like you were talking about, we started very slow, but we had those big runs in the second quarter to lead at half, big run in the third quarter. Did force a lot of turnovers. Germany finished with 23 turnovers, which is, like you were saying, recipe for success.
Yeah.
If you want to win, turn the ball over a lot. Jackie Young, 19, 4, 2, and 4. Shot almost 54% from the field. Like you were saying, she shot 5 for 8 from 3, accounted for nearly all of the U.S.'s threes, and finished with the highest box plus minus on the floor with plus 26. I think a little bit overseen, maybe just a little bit, which is this will probably never be said again. Aja Wilson, she finished with 14. She seemed to be all over the court. She finished with 14, 3, and 2. She had 3 steals and 2 blocks. That's probably the most impactful defense on that team from that game. Not that there's not others, but very impactful defense from her. She was the only starter with a positive plus minus. She finished with plus 13 when she was out on the floor. But yeah, I think it was, a relatively quiet game. I think a slow start was a lot to account for.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things where, you worry about it, but you just hope that the way that they've been doing well and the way that they just, continue to dominate, not just game after game, but year after year, will continue to just kind of be like, having that same leadership and stuff like that on the team. Just continue to keep the ball rolling and hope that they can fix those mistakes, because a win is still a win no matter if you win by 5 or win by 50. But yeah, those are my biggest takeaways from the game.
Yeah, the chemistry should continue to develop as games go on. I know there's not many games left, but I'm just concerned about the shooting. That's about it. But if Jackie Young can play like that, I'm really not worried about Chelsea Gray missing too much time either.
Yeah, getting strong bench play like that from, we've seen it happen on the men's national team from, getting big players come off the bench. Anthony Edwards putting up 26 off the bench. Getting huge performances like that off the bench really eases the stress from players like Aja or players like Stewie, where they have a relatively quiet game and you're still able to pull off a big win over a team. Was it last episode you were saying you thought, was it Germany that was the biggest problem for us?
That's who I was thinking was the biggest problem.
Yeah,
because they had Satu Sabali, who actually started the game off pretty hot, but she just got fatigued too close to the end. So she wasn't really effective in the second half as much. And Leonie Fibic, I really like her game, and but she got hurt, so every option that Germany had kind of was cut off. So I think it was a little misrepresentative of what it could be if that's a fully healthy Germany team, but I'm still not too worried about anything going on as long as we keep playing like we did in that game.
Yeah. So moving on from basketball, whole world of basketball, to moving on to the Olympics as a whole, what have been your favorite storylines and outcomes that have happened from the past few days from when we last talked about it?
Well, the biggest theme I'm looking at is the GOATs. Katie Ledecky winning the 800-meter freestyle gold for the 4th time in her career. It's the first time a woman has ever done that in an individual event in any sport. She's the best at what she does. And then Simone Biles added 4 medals in these Olympics, giving her 11 in total to become the most decorated U.S. gymnast ever. And then also in the world of gymnastics, Rebecca Andrade, the Brazilian gymnast, she won gold over Childs and Simone Biles, who were both favored to go 1 and 2 in that competition. She won gold for her first gold of this Olympics, and this is coming after 3 ACL tears since 2015. So that's a really inspirational story of perseverance, and it was just really awesome to see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of
you?
the same. You know, Biles is continuing to just show why she is the best to ever touch a mat out there.
Mm-hmm.
Big stories like that, you know, that you were just talking about. And then obviously we talked about last time, Suni Lee. I think it really embodies, you know, like, not to be corny or anything, but like you watch the Olympics and you see all these athletes like a Biles or like a Ledecky, or in the past like a Michael Phelps, where it's just like they have always dominated at what they do. But you get these other people who come out here and maybe they don't win like 4 gold medals, but they win like 1 or 2 gold medals,
Mm-hmm.
or just medal in general. And it's like coming from a background or coming from a story like 3 ACL tears to go out there and be the best one in any competition. That's just super cool to see. But yeah, Biles, you know, she's still Simone Biles.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you put out there against her. She's still going to go out there and she's going to show why she's the best to ever do it. 2 world records were set this past weekend in the pool, with the men's 1,500 meter, 1 gold in that, of course, and then the women's 4x100, which was super fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you got to catch that, but they won gold in that one, set a world record with it. Really pulled away there, I think, about midway through,
Mm-hmm.
but that was a fun one to watch. And then a storyline that I think you were really, really excited to talk about.
Yeah.
Noah Lyles quiets all the haters,
Mm-hmm.
goes out there, wins gold in what was an amazing, amazing race to watch.
I was very quiet after the race for sure. I just wanted to talk about that too, though, because I know we had talked about like the photo finish, and I talked to somebody who runs track, because I needed clarification on like why is the foot not what gets constituted for the winning, and it's the torso instead. And he told me that there are some races where you have to like literally run through a banner or a ribbon.
Oh, yeah.
So it wouldn't be fair to make that the qualifications for winning that and not other track events. So that's why they say the torso is what gets you through. Because I thought Curley, I think his last name was, from the USA, should have won at least second of silver. But he won bronze because the foot doesn't count. It's the torso because of other races that track has. So that was just interesting to learn.
Yeah. 2 quick notes I want to make, too, about the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, the U.S. today, individually, we were just talking about it before the show, won gold in the 1,500 meter relay. And I think that was a pretty big upset, pulling that one off. So another gold to add to the resume. And then the only other note I wanted to make was we're now Beyond the Score market, you know, officially mark it in your calendars, do whatever you want. Tell everyone to come follow us, because we are now beefing with the International Olympic Committee.
Yeah.
We tried to include a Katie Ledecky highlight, which is also funny that gets cut out, but the rugby one doesn't.
The rugby didn't.
But yeah, we're beefing now.
Yeah.
Expect to see us probably at the closing ceremony. Yeah, and I guess I shouldn't say too much. They might try and get me.
That's true. They'll take us out before that.
Yeah.
But one other thing I did want to highlight was the women's 3x3 team. They were able to get the bronze medal. They beat China twice in one day. Once to get to the play-in, and then they beat them in the play-in. They lost to a very good Spain team that could have got them to the gold medal game. But in that bronze medal game, we played Canada, and they were up 7-4, but USA fought back to up 2 with 7 seconds left when Sierra Burdick got an offensive board and fouled to ice the game for a 16-13 win and the USA bronze. So I definitely wanted to shout them out. They started off 0-3, so to come back from that all the way to a bronze medal is extremely impressive.
Yeah, it was a awesome year for them. I think it's cool too. Not trying to discredit any of them, but we got a team like this. Ryan Howard, huge staple of that team.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing with, I believe, the only collegiate athlete on Team USA.
I think that's right.
As a member of your team, another key member of your team,
Very
and
key.
going out there and putting up a fight, if not beating a lot of these teams that are putting out some of their best products and stuff like that. So, yeah, big time nod to them. That's huge.
But my only question with this team moving forward is will this be Sierra Burdick's last games? Because I feel like she was really just a on the floor coach more than anything. She wasn't really contributing too much offensively or defensively. So I think this may be her last games, and I'm really glad she was able to medal to if this is her last game. So I'm just interested to see what they do going forward, because I don't think they have the biggest problem of the professionals doing the FIBA stuff, because the WNBA season is shorter. So we'll see if they get another professional in there or they go the college route. I'm just really excited to see how we keep dominating in this sport.
Yeah, I think the teams going forward, it's just you're going to be able to add talent and stuff like that, because I know there was a lot of question marks on the national team of like, oh, we could have thrown this person in or thrown that person on.
Yeah.
That's a great luxury to have. And then have a 3x3 team that just won bronze, that there's players, next year next Olympics that you could put on the national team or maybe not and still have this immense talent on the 3x3 team.
Mm-hmm.
And you still won bronze last Olympics. So, yeah, big storylines from the Olympics from there.
So, Colton, did anything stand out from you in the Olympics this weekend?
Well, I saw the 4x4 world record, but I also saw the Netherlands finish. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That was insane. I showed that on the bench warmers, but I saw that. I've just kind of been taking it all in, though. I haven't really focused. I watched the gymnastics. Carlos, what was his last name?
Alcaraz?
I saw Alcaraz. He lost to Jokic, but
That was a good one.
Djokovic. Wrong Jokic. Wrong Joker. I had his name written down somewhere. I lost though. The Philippine guy. He won the first Filipino golden medal in gymnastics, and he's really good. But also, you mentioned tennis over there. Novak Djokovic had a really great his first gold medal, and we were talking about it on the bench warmers. Garrett, the tennis expert, said that he's probably the GOAT of tennis now. So yeah, seeing that happen. I was watching some horse equestrian. I was watching BMX. I've been all over the place. So it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, there's no real one big thing. I will say that 4x4 finish in the Netherlands. If you guys have not seen it, go watch it. That is an insane one of my favorite things I've watched live for sports.
Yeah.
First medal for the Philippines, though. You have to build a statue now.
Oh,
he got a house. He got like a bunch of different perks. I don't even know where to start.
Build the statue in front of the house. That's what we need to do still.
Yeah. Get that man a statue.
That is awesome. I can't remember where it was now, but like in terms of winning the first gold medal, there was somebody that I think beat out Sha'Carri Richardson for gold and won her country's first gold medal.
I think it was St. Lucia, I think it was.
Yeah, that's what it was. But that was huge too. That was awesome getting to see, that race was really good. And then watching, those in her home country just be ecstatic through the roof was just super cool to see.
Get her own statue too.
Yes, absolutely. With a gold medal on it. All gold medal.
Absolutely.
Or all gold
All gold
statue.
and then the gold medal on it.
Yeah.
But moving on, we have some NFL preseason award predictions. We'll start with the biggest one, MVP. Who do you have this year?
So I think it's Patrick Mahomes has reached, hear me out here, Tom Brady status. Someone who every
Wouldn't
single
argue
year,
that at all.
every single year, he is someone that you're going to sound like a moron if you don't at least utter his presence around MVP or, Super Bowl finalist
Yeah.
every single year. So I think it's tough not to at least say him. I think I'm going to say this, and you're going to think I'm biased, but I've been saying this past few years. I think it's truly just a matter of health. I'm all aboard the Joe Burrow MVP train. Say what you want, but I think getting T. Higgins back is huge.
Mm-hmm.
The defense is meh, but you've added pieces to it that could, fit the mold maybe a little bit better. I think a lot of it last year was just morale being down. Maybe I'm stupid. I didn't play on the team, so I could just be an idiot. But I think a lot of the morale just seemed not in place. Everything seemed out of whack. But him getting T. Higgins back, Jamar Chase is obviously uber talented. Andre Yoshivas has emerged as pretty good wide receiver 3, a solid wide receiver 3 from what we're hearing at training camp and just what he showed last year and the tangibles that he has. You're bringing in other wide receivers from the XFL. You're bringing in wide receivers that were maybe the 4th, 5th option, like Trenton Irwin, Charlie Jones. I think the offense is going to be a lot different this year because you don't have an anchor of Joe Mixon in the backfield where, and I love Joe Mixon. I think he was a great Bengal for a long time. But I think there were times when the offense seemed to be like, well, we have him, so we need to use him. Don't have a back like that anymore where it's like you need to use him. Got Zach Moss. Got, blanking on his name now. But the other running back, Chase Brown. Yeah. Very good running backs, very solid running backs for us. They fit, I feel, the mold very well. And getting a new offensive coordinator, I think, will kind of help to maybe allow the offense to flow a little bit better because you're getting a quarterback coach that knows the quarterback very well due to his former position and is now going into an offensive coordinator role knowing what he likes. So I'm going to say my 2 MVP finalists, Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes.
I like it. Hey, listen, I may be a Bengal hater, but Joe Burrow I respect as one of the 2, if not one of the best 3 quarterbacks in the league for sure. So I'm not mad at that pick at all.
Respect.
Me myself, I'm picking an up and comer. Give me C.J. Stroud to win the MVP this year.
You love the Texans today, Alex.
I really do. Already a top 10 in yards and top 15 in QBR and TDs. He's adding Stephon Diggs, obviously a great piece for him.
Yeah.
And then Joe Mixon, who was almost top 10 in receiving yards for running backs last season. So I think this will just create a dynamic offense for him to be able to go out and put up ridiculous numbers. I mean, he already has Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz, Nico Collins. So he's set up to be great. It would honestly be disappointing if he didn't have an MVP caliber season.
Yeah, I agree with you. I love C.J. Stroud. I think he's so fun to watch. So I could absolutely see that happening too. I feel like the past few years have been just such like an open area of like you're seeing wide receivers come out and put up historic years. Running backs come out, put up historic years to where it's like they didn't win an MVP, which last year, one of those years. But there's so much talent, it seems like, in the league that it's like the past few years, it's like anybody, truly anyone could go out there and win MVP. But moving forward to the next prediction, Offensive Player of the Year, who do you have winning?
I have Saquon Barkley. As long as the line can find cohesion after Jason Kelsey's retirement, I feel like he should be able to rack up pretty good numbers. He missed 3 games last year, but he was still top 20 in yards and touchdowns. So I feel like as long as he has good health, which is always a question mark with him, and good cohesion with that line, I think he could have an Offensive Player of the Year caliber season.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think that's, first of all, great take. I think that is very possible. I think that offense has become a bit ridiculous. We'll see how it pans out, but on paper, that looks absurd.
Yeah.
I have Derrick Henry.
I like it.
I know maybe he's getting a little older, but he's shown in Tennessee, while maybe not always having the best offensive line, this dude is a tank. I feel like he was robbed of an MVP in 2020 because he had a 2,000-yard year.
Yeah.
I think it was 2020. Maybe it was 2019. Had a 2,000-yard year. I feel like was sort of robbed of an MVP, but that happens all the time with non-quarterbacks. I feel like you put him now into an offense where the quarterback isn't as pressured to throw, where he maybe has been in years past. Lamar has the ability to run, but now you have a running back behind you who his job is to run, and he's very, very good at his job. I feel like he maybe has the opportunity to emerge in that offense more than he already has in the past, and just continue the impressive stats behind that line.
I love me some Derrick Henry, so I really enjoy that pick a whole lot. Now, my Defensive Player of the Year pick is definitely a homer pick, but I'm going to go with TJ Watt.
Yeah.
He's a 4-time finalist, and he's only a 1-time winner. I feel like something's up with that, but I could be wrong. First player in NFL history to lead the league 3 times in sacks, 97 sacks in 104 games. Let's see, 107 tackles for loss in 104 games. He's 16 quarterback hits away from being top 10 all time in quarterback hits. The other people on the list have at least 50 more plus games played on him.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Steelers are 1-10 in games without him, so I feel like that is the most telling thing. Every year, people think the Steelers have a great or at least an acceptable defense, and it's the biggest lie we could possibly have because it's TJ Watt and him alone creating that pressure, creating turnovers.
Yeah.
That's the only good part of the defense is that they create turnovers thanks to TJ Watt.
Yeah.
So he should win it every year, in my opinion, but I feel like this is his year to win another one.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly could have gone that route too. I think he, like you said, he's someone that if he's not a finalist every single year, he missed the entire season.
Right.
Because he's just, I hate playing against him, you know? Every single game would go against him. I feel like you could probably put a brick wall over on his side and he's still going to find a way through there to get to Joe. I have Max Crosby.
I like it.
I kind of just want to be different. I'm not going to lie to you. But I feel like what he's done the past couple of years has just been, getting better and better and better. He's reaching a big status now of top 5 defensive end at least.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you're adding Christian Wilkins to the defensive line, interior of it. So I think that could probably open up some more possibilities. They drafted Tyree Wilson really high last year. Didn't really pan out well last year, but maybe we see a breakout from him. Maybe that gives Max Crosby the ability to have a little bit more time to himself over on that end to match up against like actual one-on-ones.
Right.
But I think just alone Christian Wilkins adds a lot to that defensive line and gives Max Crosby more of a chance to get his edge and stuff.
Colton, do you have any picks for those first 3 that we mentioned?
Taking a look at the Vegas odds, and I thought I would name some of these off. For the MVP, you guys named 3 of the top 4. Who do you think is the 4th person that you did not name on there?
I'm going to go Josh Allen.
Alex?
I was also going to say Josh Allen.
You are correct. I played the correct sound, but I don't know which one it is. Hey, is this one? Hey, that is the correct sound. Okay, so now I know. So, yeah, Josh Allen, you had Mahomes at top. You had Joe Burrow in 3rd, and then Stroud in 4th. So, you mentioned Stroud as I believe, a dark horse, but
yeah.
And then for Offensive Player of the Year, McCaffrey was at 1.
Yeah.
And then Barkley, it was all the way down in 6, plus 1,400. And then who was the other one that you guys said?
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry is not even in the top 10. So there's that. Watt is in 2nd. Who do you think's in 1st? Alex?
Miles Garrett.
Yeah. Or no, not Miles Garrett.
Mike Parsons.
Yeah, Michael Parsons.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a guy too.
Yeah.
Probably a good finalist every year.
Crosby is sitting there in 5th. So honestly, I pretty much agreed with what you guys said. I mean, Mahomes is obviously going to be the favorite. Burrow is my heart pick, and Stroud is definitely a dark horse. I am a little higher on Josh Allen than most people. I think if he has a good year with the Bills, he most certainly deserves the MVP. But that still remains to be seen with the receiver core he has.
I was about to say, he has no weapon, so if he has a good year, he definitely deserves MVP.
Yeah, I've said it, like, this is a year for him to be like that year Patrick Mahomes had nobody to throw to, like Kadarius Toney or whoever was there.
Yeah.
Like just Kelsey, which I guess they had Knox. Is that the young one? I get their tight ends mixed up. Yeah, on Buffalo.
Yeah.
Knox is the okay.
I'm trying to think of the other tight end that they just drafted, Kincaid.
Yeah, Kincaid. Yeah, so Kincaid definitely could be like a top 5 tight end, I think, with Josh Allen throwing it to him. But outside of that, it's looking rough. But
yeah,
I would say Allen definitely deserves to be in that 2nd if he can win with them.
Yeah,
for sure.
those that was gonna be my biggest question mark. Is like, second. I'm assuming he's got second best odds. Okay.
He's got the second best odds.
Yeah, I mean, if he's got second best odds with this roster,
maybe they know something we don't.
Yeah, that's crazy. This dude must become like Superman or something in the offseason. But moving on now to the rookies, young guys. Who do you have winning Offensive Rookie of the Year?
I think this will be pretty high on Vegas's odds. I'm going Marvin Harrison Jr. As long as Kyler Murray stays healthy, he should put up big numbers as wide receiver 1. I'm sure he'll get doubled a lot, but he's fast enough and good enough just to make plays through it. They'll have a good run game, and that should make them a two-dimensional offense where they can run some play action and get him some more open looks and hopefully some one-on-ones. And I feel like he's just going to have a great year. I know the quarterback is, I guess, the favorite pick probably, but I think Marvin Harrison Jr., I've liked his game since Ohio State, so
yeah,
I can't wait to see how he does this year.
Yeah, I'm a big Marvin Harrison guy. I do like him a lot. I would say he's in my top 3. The only reason that I would say I wouldn't have him winning it is because of the division he's playing in.
Fair.
Playing Niners twice a year, playing Seahawks twice a year, which you could, maybe be like, oh, I don't know about that. But between Tariq Woolen and Witherspoon, that's a tough cornerback matchup. And then, LA, they've just had, solid defenses at the least past couple of years.
For sure.
I would have said him, but I was just thinking a lot about the fact that he's going to get doubled a lot. He's probably going to win it now that I said that, and I hope he does.
That'd be good for me.
Yeah. I said Caleb Williams. I feel like that's just one of those picks. It's like you could show a dude the draft board, and he's going to be like, well, that obviously the guy who went number 1. But I just think the guys that he's getting paired with, you get Keenan Allen on that offense. DJ Moore just got his bag. You got Rome Odunze, who I think is going to be a really special wide receiver.
Sure.
Kind of helping to bolster the offensive line a little bit more. The defense is getting really well. I feel like he's going to have a great team around him. If he can just play half of what his expectations are, I think he's got enough to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Also due to the fact that he's a quarterback. I also said Malik Neighbors. I think he is in a very similar situation, probably a little bit worse of a situation than Marvin Harrison is in.
Yeah.
But I think the wide receiver core around him helps a little bit more. I got their depth chart here. You've got in the wide receiver category, obviously got him. You have Wan'Dale Robinson, who I think is, when he played, he was very serviceable.
Yeah.
Kentucky guy, of course.
Of course.
Darius Slayton. Isaiah Hodgins has had his reps as a main wide receiver on that team. Jalen Hyatt, I know people aren't huge on him. I kind of like Jalen Hyatt. You got Allen Robinson, who Steelers legend.
So great. Sadly, don't let him go. Anyways.
Not that that's like a ridiculously good wide receiver room, but I think there's just a lot of reps in that wide receiver room, and the depth that it has is enough to maybe give him more of an opportunity to get those one-on-one matchups against corners where maybe he's got, a size advantage or has the vertical advantage to go up there and win those jump balls. But I think this is just such a ridiculously talented offensive rookie year.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I definitely like that Caleb Williams pick. They the Bears definitely gave him more options than they gave Justin Fields, but that's okay. He's a Steeler now, and I like that a whole lot. But moving on, who would you have as your defensive rookie of the year?
I got it between 2. I think Dallas Turner is. I think he might be. Colton, you can double check me on this one. I feel like he might be a leader if he's not number 1 for defensive rookie of the year odds.
Okay.
I feel like he's very talented coming out of Alabama. I know people. Will Anderson gave him a lot of credit. He talked about how Dallas was going to be that next defensive end. That's big name coming out of the draft. I think him going to Minnesota is going to be good. Their defense wasn't great a couple years ago. Got a little bit better last year, and then now I think you're adding a key defensive piece on the edge. Plus, I think the reps he's going to be able to get. Jerry Tillery is the number 1 defensive edge on the left. You got Jonathan Bullard on the right. Jonathan, Grenard is top linebacker. Ivan Pace he's going to have a lot of opportunities, I feel like, to kind of play like a little bit of a Von Miller role.
Yeah.
Where you're like listed as a linebacker, but you're probably going to be rushing the edge a whole lot. So I could see him having a lot of success. I think just his athleticism is going to be fun to watch. And just see how he gets to guys like Jared Goff. See how he tries to get to Caleb Williams. Jordan Love. It's going to be fun. Test his speed a little bit more and stuff. The other guy I had was Byron Murphy. I think the Seattle defensive line has struggled the past couple of years, and now you're just adding a huge guy in the middle of this defensive line to go with Leonard Williams. I could see him maybe having, maybe not like a Jalen Carter defensive year, but maybe shades of it, just because you're adding him to this defensive line that is being invested in a little bit more, and he's crazy talented coming out of Texas.
I mean, it's definitely possible. I feel like this Defensive Rookie of the Year is one of the hardest awards to predict. Me personally, I went with Quinion Mitchell. I know there's less of a chance with Cooper DeJean on the other side. They might both be starters. But word out of camp I've been reading is promising. He talks a lot of trash, and he doesn't back down from any challenge. Comes from Toledo, so, I mean, it's kind of hard to back down from anything. You are going to do big things if you can do that.
Yeah.
Make it out of that to the NFL. But they've just been saying, like, he's wants A.J. Brown on the other side every time. So I like to hear that kind of confidence, especially coming out of rookie. So that would be my pick, honestly.
I love that pick. I did a report on him a couple years ago for an NIL class.
Oh, nice.
And, I mean, I obviously didn't talk to the guy or anything, but we had to pick, like, brand deals that we would maybe want an athlete to get paired with, a collegiate athlete. I picked him. I think I did ADT security, lockdown.
Nice.
I think I might have said Elmer's glue because he was like top 10 or something in all, college football players and picks. But yeah, he was a guy too that I kind of had on my radar because I did a report about him and I was like, this dude is crazy playing in Toledo and doing this stuff, and then now you're getting drafted, in the first round, midway through the first round from Toledo. You got to be crazy, especially going to a team like Philly,
right?
That is a contender. Yeah.
So, Colton, how are we looking on those two?
So you were right on Dallas Turner being the favorite for defense. When we go to the offensive rookie of the year odds, Caleb Williams is at the top. I guess I could have cut to myself there. Jaden Daniels is in second. Did you guys really mention Jaden Daniels? I don't think I heard you say much about him. I'm high on him. I think he's got a really good receiver core around him. He's got a nice running back in Eckler who can add another layer to that offense. And I think there's a legitimate shot that he gets it. I don't know. Is winning really that big of a deal for the Offensive Rookie of the Year? I guess if Williams were to win more than Daniels, then he would probably get the nod. But, yeah, I agree. And Williams is in a really great spot, has a lot of talent around him, just like Daniels. I'm just higher on Daniels as a prospect overall. But you had Harrison Jr. He was in third there. Malik Neighbors is quite a distance back in fourth. But who do you think is the fifth rookie?
I'm going to guess probably not a Dunze.
No.
Don't think it's a Dunze. Man.
That's what I would have went with, honestly.
Is it Leggett? Dang it.
I would have went with a Dunze, so I don't really have a guess.
What's the position?
It's quarterback.
Oh, quarterback. Oh, Bo Nix?
Yeah, it's Bo Nix.
Oh, okay.
I can kind of see that. I can see that.
I think your guys were probably better picks than Bo Nix. But if he is the Drew Brees that apparently Sean Payton thinks he is, which I don't even know if Sean Payton thinks that, but I could see it. But looking at the defense, though, you said Dallas Turner at the top. Latu is in second. Quinion Mitchell in fourth. Jared Verse in third there. Byron Murphy's down in sixth, which I like that Byron Murphy take. That's a guy I wanted on the Bengals. I mean, a lot of these guys are guys I wanted on the Bengals, but you can't have it all. But I think it's going to be interesting because a lot of those guys are in positions. They were drafted late in the first round there, so they're in positions that, like, they're going to be competing for playoff or championship right off the bat, whereas you have most of the offensive guys are in organizations like the Commanders or the Bears that we don't necessarily know what their outlook is. So it's going to be easier. They're going to get more reps. It was my point there. And I'm not sure how many reps, the top guys on here will get. I mean, the Eagles brought back, why did his name just blank on me? Gardner Johnson, who was on the 2022 team. So he'll probably take some minutes from Mitchell and DeJohn. So it's going to be fun to see how these defenses, because I think they're incredibly talented. It's just a matter of, where will they fit in on these contending teams.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you there. Jumping to Coach of the Year. This is honestly an award that it took me probably the longest on this award, because I feel like the top 5 or 6 guys in odds at least, I was like, I could legitimately see any of these guys taking it because of their teams. But who did you have winning Coach of the Year?
Well, I wanted to go with the homer pick and pick Mike Tomlin just because he's a pillar of consistency, but I did not go with that. I went with Andy Reid because I feel like the potential of the first ever three-peat in Super Bowl history is something that voters would not look past. So if they're even close to that by the time the voting comes around, I feel like he would be a shoo-in for it, honestly.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I was thinking about that too, how Andy Reid has probably had the most success of any coach in the NFL in the past 5 years and has 0 Coach of the Years, I believe.
He has one.
He has one, okay.
When he was coaching the Eagles.
Yeah. And, yeah, I don't know. Just crazy to think that he only has one Coach of the Year and he's been the most successful
whole career,
in the past few years. Besides Bill, of course. I was really torn between 2. I had Matt LaFleur. I think, we were talking about Jordan Love the other day and talking about how great he was and how he was, even Colton after the show and during the show was talking about how Jordan Love was outperforming, if not going blow for blow with Tua, who was a, MVP candidate at one point in the season. So I think Matt LaFleur has a really good shot of taking it because you've just continued to add to that. You're adding Josh Jacobs to that offense that I feel like could be a really run-friendly offense. The receiving core is still pretty good. It's fairly similar to what it was last year. The other guy I had was DeMeco Ryans.
Nice.
I really, really, really was thinking he could have gotten it this past year. I feel like a lot of people were thinking that too. I love the guy. I feel like he's just a really good person in general. Loves the game, loves Houston, and he's got a great talent and potentially an MVP down there with C.J. Stroud.
Yeah. Okay. So the last one we got to get to, who would be your comeback player of the year?
I believe, I don't know, is Joe eligible? Because I saw something that said he was eligible, but I didn't know.
He is currently second on the comeback player of the year odds.
I would be contradicting myself if I said he's an MVP and doesn't win comeback player of the year. But saying he doesn't win comeback player of the year, my second guy would probably be Nick Chubb. I think he's going to be put into that offense and once again be the main part of that offense. Whether Brandon Ayuk gets traded there or not.
Yeah.
He's going to be the main center point of that offense. He's shown before, because I think didn't he have a pretty bad injury coming out of Georgia or something like that? He's shown that he can bounce back and be a top 5, if not, number 1 running back in the league.
Yeah.
Because he's just such a great player. But yeah, it's between those two. I want to say Joe because, if he puts up an MVP season, he's obviously putting up a comeback player of the year season. But I also love Nick Chubb. I think he's, got a great chance of it too.
I love both those picks. I hope it's one of those. Would have probably went with Joe Burrow if I would have thought of that, but here we are. Mine is one I would not like to see, but I feel like it's inevitable. I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers. 40 going on 41, coming back from an Achilles injury. Yeah. I feel like if he puts up any type of comparable numbers to anybody else who's in the list, he's going to get the call, and I hate it, but I just feel like it's coming.
I think if he plays more than 4 plays, he might have a pretty good shot.
That's what I'm saying. If he does anything this season, breathes well, I think he's going to get it.
Yeah. As long as he's not going on an ayahuasca trip halfway through the season, I think he's got a pretty good shot.
So how are we looking back there, Colton?
All right. So when I first heard the Aaron Rodgers take, I mean, he's the number 1 on the odds right now, so you're not wrong. But I was just sitting there thinking, like, Aaron Rodgers, MVP, I mean, I guess, but I think of the comeback player of the year, I think I lump it in with most improved a little too much. Just thinking of like how they, but yeah, I mean, all he has to do is do 8 plays, right? And he's already doubled his plays from last year. But looking at the odds, Rodgers at the top, Joe Burrow in second, Kirk Cousins in third,
Nice.
Anthony Richardson in fourth, Nick Chubb is fifth, Daniel Jones in sixth. Me and Alex have had our fair share talking about him today.
Get this fraud out of here.
That's what I said.
J.K. Dobbins, which I would love to see J.K. Dobbins make a comeback. Kyler Murray and Justin Herbert at the bottom. I don't know. I guess Justin Herbert did get injured last year, but Murray already came back and
Yeah.
that's kind of an interesting one. But the one I want to talk about, I want to circle back to the Coach of the Year odds because you said you looked at the odds.
I was looking at them, and it seemed like they were absurd, at least top heavy, if nothing else.
Did you see what who was the top one? Do you remember? I can just name it.
Was it Jim Harbaugh?
No, he was second, which is still crazy to me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Matt
That's silly.
Eberflus.
what I mean. I don't know.
I remember halfway through the season, this guy was getting absolutely. And I never even thought he was going to make it through the season. And now he is currently the Vegas favorite for Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
With Jim Harbaugh right behind him.
That's insane.
Raheem Morris is actually probably my pick in third place. I
Yeah.
think he could, if Atlanta has a nice flip this year, he could definitely get that. And then you have Matt LaFleur. I like him as well if Green Bay does really well. D'Amico Ryans, you guys mentioned there. He could definitely get it. And then we're just going down Shane Steichen, Jonathan Gannon. That's the Cardinals coach?
Yeah.
Okay. Robert Saleh and Brian Callahan. So that is your odds.
No
way. Where is Andy Reid? Where is?
Yeah.
I think Zach Taylor could even be in conversation if we have a good enough year.
I'd go Zach Taylor over Brian Callahan.
Mike Tomlin should be on there if
Yeah.
It feels like it's comeback coach of the year. Like
Yeah.
like
I mean, I've seen the
coaches-
Steelers roster. I don't know if Mike Tomlin should be on there. It's going to be rough. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it feels more like a hot seat list than it does
That's fair.
a coach of the year list to me. But
Might have to get on that Andy Reid Coach of the Year bet. Honestly.
Yeah.
yeah, if it's that low, I don't know if he's like barred from winning it or something, but
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
He sold his chances to draft Patrick Mahomes. That was a part of
That's
that Bills
right.
trade.
Yeah.
I think the Shane Steichen, or however you pronounce his last name, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. I think I could see his chances being all right because that's Colts coach. Last year they played with Gardner Minshew. Love Gardner Minshew. I think he's very serviceable. Keyword serviceable. Nearly all year. I like Anthony Richardson. I think if he can stay healthy, he will be ridiculous out on the field because what he showed us last year at the start of it, I think if he was healthy all year, he probably could have beat out C.J. Stroud for offensive rookie of the year because it was just, I mean, it was absurd what he was doing out there athletically. So I can kind of see that maybe being a coach of the year, but that's going to mean that you not just get your starting quarterback back, but he also plays good and your defense is good, which is very, very important in football because your offense doesn't play defense.
That is true.
In case, you all listening are new here and don't know any rules of sports, there are two sides of the game. Just letting everyone know.
And defense wins championships, I've heard.
I have heard that too. So, yeah, I mean, did you have any closing notes that you were wanting to say to the people?
I think we covered it all. How about you?
I don't have anything else to say. Thank you all for tuning in and stuff. Thank you, Colton, for your weekly Dynasty update. I know I'm always dying to hear what's going on and I know Alex is
for sure,
as well.
yeah.
So thank you for that.
But yeah, that'll do it then for this shortened week of the Beyond the Score podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at BT_ then the word score, and YouTube at Beyond the Score 123. Big thanks to NKU Media Services for letting us use the studio, and for myself, Alex Perez, Matthew Supinger, and Colton Smith behind the scenes. Make sure you go give the Norse Benchwarmers a listen. Special guest this week. I think you all will enjoy it. But we will see you all next time.